Now let's talk about the Burr on steroids strategy. Okay, let's break down what the Burr acronym means. The first B stands for buy, and this is actually the most important step, is to buy the property right. If you buy the property right, every other step becomes a lot easier. The next step is renovate/rehab. As I mentioned in the previous lecture, renovations always cost 25% more and take 25% longer, and this all ties back to buying right. If you buy the property at the right price, it'll provide you cushion for the rehab, which will take a lot longer and be more expensive. The next step is rent. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully you pulled some sales or rental comps from your property manager so you know how much rent you can get for your rehab property. The next step is refinance. Keep in mind for this step in multifamily, there's typically a prepayment penalty. It can range from 1 to 3%. As a standard cookie cutter template, usually if you refinance on the first year, it's 3% prepayment. Second year is 2% prepayment, and on the third year, it's 1% prepayment. Keep in mind that it typically takes around 2 to 3 years to stabilize an apartment complex. I'm speaking for reference for a 20 to 26 unit apartment complex. So if it's a lot larger, it may take a little longer. And the last step is repeat. So my strategy is buy and hold. So I like to buy value add apartment complexes, or I'm renovating units for around $5,000 to $8,000 per unit. Hopefully that can raise the rents by $200, $300 per month. What's nice about multifamily is you can try renovating half the units to kind of test the market. Maybe you realize after renovations you don't get that much of a bump in rent in that situation. Maybe not worth to do extensive rehab, just do standard make readies. And why I like the cash out refinance strategy is you pull out all of your money, you pull out your initial down payment, all your renovation costs, and a little bit extra money if you bought it right. And what's nice is this money comes out tax free, and you can buy another value add apartment complex. With this, your money will snowball, and I call it the velocity of money. By doing the cash out refi, you basically have an infinite return on your money. It increases the velocity of your money, and the goal is this is how you slowly snowball your portfolio. Now let's talk about why the BRRRR strategy and apartments go hand in hand. As mentioned before, the first step is buy. Most mom and pop owners leave some meat on the bone, so please buy right. This is the most important step. A lot of mom and pop owners, they haven't raised rents in the past 5 to 10 years. There may be a gap of $200 or $300 per month in rent. Maybe some renovations are needed. For the second step, it talks about rehab and renovate. The question you ask is, how much renovation is needed to increase the rents to market value? This is a question that I'll typically ask my property manager, who also serves as my general contractor. And the example that was given for my 26 unit is it's going to cost me $8,000 per unit to raise rents by $300 per month. With that $8,000, I'm getting a brand new kitchen countertops, LVP flooring throughout the entire unit, repainting all of the walls, getting a new bathtub kit, a new bathroom vanity. So basically the entire apartment is almost brand new. And what's nice about multifamily is you can try with a handful of units. I have a 26 unit. We're piloting this renovation on 5 of the units to see if we actually hit that rent raise by $300 a month. If we find out we don't, then the other units we won't renovate as extensively. Maybe we'll just do the basics to get it rent ready and just raise the rents. What's nice about multifamily is you can kind of test the market with a couple before committing to it. So that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. And in general, people do not renovate all the units. It's nice to have some more affordable options and some more premium luxury options. The next step is rent. So once again, ask yourself, what is the new rent based on the renovation? Once again, you can test that with a couple units before committing fully to all the other units. And what's nice about renovations is it's just copy and paste. At the end of the day, do what's trendy for that market. What's very trending right now in California are gray luxury vinyl plank flooring, a light gray or white wall paint, very neutral, simple colors, and people all watch HGTV, so you can kind of see what's being done at other apartment complexes, and just you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be that creative. So just please copy and paste, and when you buy materials in bulk, it gets a lot cheaper. And as mentioned before, if you don't obtain as high of rent as anticipated, you can reassess the renovation. As I mentioned before, I depend a lot on my property manager, and I kind of cross-reference that with rent manager to kind of gauge what the market rents are. So the most important step in a value add BRRRR strategy for apartment complexes is the refinance. The question I ask is, can I pull out all of my initial money, down payment and renovation? If you can do that, that's called an infinite return on your money, and it helps increase the velocity of your money. Don't get me wrong, if let's just say you get to leave 5 to 10% or 15% of your money in the deal, don't consider that a failure. That just means that you're able to pull out some of your money and you're better able to leverage that money and increase the velocity of your money. So for example, I have an $8,000 per unit renovation. We hope that it can raise the rents by about $300 per month in my 20 unit apartment complex, which I purchased for $500,000 with 25% down, with about 160K renovation. Assuming I'm renovating all units, it'll increase the net operating income by $720,000. And assuming an 8 cap market, you take the NOI, divide by 0.08, that will force around $900,000 worth of forced appreciation. So let's just do the math here. So I bought the property for $500,000. I forced about $900,000 worth of value. So my new property value is $1.4 million. Assuming I'm using a 75% loan to value loan for during the cash out refi, I'll get out roughly about $1 million. Now I'm going to minus my current loan of $375,000, minus my renovation cost, which is $160,000, and at the close of escrow, I'm going to get back almost $500,000 or $500,000 back tax-free. So not only am I getting my down payment back, plus my renovations, plus another $500,000 on top of that to invest tax-free. So keep in mind this example, it's just for number purposes only. Typically deals are not this good. I mean, just don't get your expectations up too high. But this is kind of illustrating the concept of how powerful it is to force appreciation. And as I stated, it all starts with buying the property correctly. That should be the main focus, and then every other step afterwards becomes so much easier. So the last step is repeat, and based on my last example, you basically put out your initial investment of the down payment, you put out all the renovation, plus another $500,000 tax-free. Now the property you have is newly renovated, so capital expenditure should be relatively low. You're going to attract the higher quality tenant with the nicer units, and you can basically take the money out and find another value add property. As I mentioned earlier, the BRRRR strategy increases the velocity of your money by creating infinite returns on money. So after this apartment complex, I pulled out almost $500,000 tax free, and I can use that $500,000 to buy an even larger apartment complex. And maybe after finishing the BRRRR strategy on that larger apartment complex, maybe I can pull out $1 million. This is why I'm a big advocate for buy and hold investing, because it takes a lot of time and effort to find the right deal, to close on the right deal, to renovate the right deal, and go through a full cycle of doing the cash out refinance. And why would I sell that property after doing all that hard work? That's kind of my mentality. I think a lot long term. I know a lot of syndicators, they tend to kind of fix and flip it real fast, and they're paid based on a 1% acquisition and disposition fee, so they are incentivized to sell. But for me personally, I try to hold onto the property as long as possible because, as I mentioned, I can still pull out money tax free and still keep the asset. To me, that's just like having your cake and eating it too, which is why I'm a huge advocate for long-term buy and hold. I just want to emphasize that the BRRRR strategy is actually more powerful with commercial real estate, which is why I call it the BRRRR on steroids strategy. Most people, when they learn about the BRRRR method on the Bigger Pockets podcast, they just apply it to single family homes. But if you apply it to commercial real estate, so that includes apartment complexes, mobile home parks, self-storage, you can have forced appreciation via value add, then do a cash out refinance and still have positive cash flow. So remember, think bigger. Always think bigger. Everyone starts off in single family homes, but eventually all the big players, all the big fish transition over to multifamily. So please think bigger.